Hello there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Kevin May. I'm the editor and co-founder of tnooz.com. Welcome to another one of our webinars produced this time in association with Sabre Travel Network. And we are looking at what we've called the app explosion. The tagline is how B2B apps are reinventing travel and creating new service models. So, as I said, I'm Kevin May. I'm joined today by my glamorous co-producer, Gene Quinn, who's also the CEO and co-founder of tnooz. He is in Connecticut. We also have on the line today two great panelists. So we have Chip Gordon, who's the marketing director of the Sabre Travel Network. He is in Dallas, Texas today. And right over there on the West Coast, very early in the morning for him, is Doug Anderson, who's the Chief Product Officer at Limos.com. So the background to all of this today. It's no particular secret that, consumer apps, as we know them, are connecting travelers and brands in a myriad of different ways, whether it's iPhones and Android-enabled devices and Blackberries and what else. But it's not immediately obvious that, B2B apps are actually are also kind of changing the way that travel brands are thinking about reaching consumers through partners. So what we're going to do over the course of the next 55 minutes or so is have a discussion here with our two panelists. They're going to go through some slides and they're going to talk about B2B apps. I mean, this is something that we've kind of covered at tnooz a little bit in our news coverage, but we've never actually had a discussion or a webinar about it. And what we're hoping is that you'll see some examples of what Sabre's been trying to do with the App Store, and also its partner here, Limos.com, and what it created, and it won an award as a result of that. So, as I said, we've got Chip Gordon and Doug Anderson on the line. I'll be handing over to them in a second. As always, we will have a series of polls for you, the audience, to give your point of view. And we'll just do a quick test one, as we always do, so that you can all familiarise yourselves with the system. So, Gene, if you can put up the first poll. It's very simple. I hope it's very simple. Where are you located? And you can choose from one of those four options, please. It just takes a couple of seconds for everybody to cast their vote. Okay, let's put those results up now, I think, Gene. Okay, 2/3 of you are in North America, just over a quarter of you are in Europe, Middle East and Africa, 6% Latin America, and 1% in Asia Pacific. Not a huge surprise on the last one there, given it is quite late into the evening in Asia Pacific. So, anyway, before we go to the second poll, which is, I guess, an introductory poll, just a quick reminder that you can submit a question at any time for our panelists today. We'll get some time at the end of the presentations for everyone to cast a question. Gene and I inevitably always have lots of questions for our panel, but we want to hear from you, the audience. So use the questions button on the right-hand side of your dashboard. Submit those to me and we'll go through those at the end. Also, please don't panic if you have to dip out at any point at all. We are recording the entire webinar for everybody today, and we will also be hosting the slides alongside the video, and we hope to get that up, as always, on tnooz.com within, let's say, about 10 hours for this Tuesday afternoon for me. So before we go to the second poll, so just a reminder then, questions, we want to hear from them. Don't worry about dipping out, because we have the video, and we just hope you enjoy the show. So poll number 2, please, Gene. What is the mobile platform of your work-related smartphone? And you can pick from one of those 5. What is the mobile platform of your work-related smartphone? And 2/3 of you have voted. Almost there. Okay, let's have those results then, Gene. So just under half, 46% say the iPhone. Just over a quarter, 26% say they have an Android-enabled device. 26%. Oh, that number's gone up. 26 is there for Android and BlackBerry. Poor old Symbian, 0% there, and 3% for Windows or other. So thank you very much, everybody, and I hope that's kind of set the scene for what we're talking about today with mobile and apps and things like that. But without further ado, I'm going to hand over straight away to Chip Gordon. As I said, he's in Dallas, Texas, Sabre headquarters today. He's the marketing director of the Sabre Travel Network. Good afternoon from me. Good morning to you, Chip. The floor's yours. Looking forward to hearing what you've got to say, sir.
Great. Thank you, Kevin, and good morning and good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us for a bit of your day to learn a little bit more about B2B apps. As Kevin mentioned, that will be the focus, is really how did this explosion happen? So if we move on to the next slide, Kevin, let's go ahead and jump in. So how did it all begin? Well, really, it comes down to access to information. People want information quickly. They want to get at it easily, and most importantly, it has to be reliable. We can go ahead and move to the next slide, Kevin. So if we just step back for a moment, so how did we get to where we are? Well, we started some time ago with the printing press, and we evolved to the telephone, and soon we got to the TV. And as you notice through this evolution, the pace of technology and advancement really quickened up. Moving from the printing press to the TV, that took hundreds of years. To move to the desktop, which you see there, well, that happened about 40 so years ago. Then we move into the smartphones, which we all just took that poll, and I think I'm probably the anomaly because I've had the top 3 choices there all within the last 3 years, currently an Android user. So we're moving between technologies. Technologies are coming out about every 3 to 6 months. We're expecting that information to be at our fingertips and be able to get to it when we need it and how we need it. If we want to move to the next slide, Kevin, thanks. So basically, if just from that visual, if you can think of it, it's out there. I think we're all living in a world of apps right now. I think we all rely pretty heavily on them, either at work or in our personal lives, and we're constantly looking for the next cool thing and sharing those with our friends and coworkers. But when it comes to B2B apps, what about apps that are really out there geared towards travel professionals? Not a B2C market, but truly to travel agencies and what their needs are. We go to the next slide, please. So that's where Sabre Red App Centre, which is our app marketplace, comes in. Sabre built the world's first B2B travel industry marketplace. Very proud of that. And that's what we're going to focus on a bit today as we move forward. We want to move to the next slide. So defining the B2B marketplace, we're all familiar with a B2C marketplace, but really what does a B2B marketplace look like? Well, we took a stab at that and launched Red App Centre. And just to make an analogy for everybody to relate to, if you look across the top row, you see a smartphone, you see all the apps that are associated with it, and the place that you go to get at the App Store. Well, if you take that scenario and bring it down to the bottom row, you see we've built upon our platform, which in this case is Sabre Red Workspace, our applications, which we call Red Apps, and our store, which we call the Red App Centre. So what we've done is set up a B2B marketplace. We can move on to the next slide. Thanks. So this is just a visual, easy to understand look at our Red App marketplace. And what you see there are 2 key players. We have our Red App providers, which are those development shops that we partner with. That can be a travel agency. Sabre, of course, develops some apps that we put in our App Centre, but also third-party commercial developers that we partner with. So we're looking to all those sources of ideas and innovation to get apps into the center of that visual, the Red App Centre, which is where on the right our Red App buyers can come, and that can be our corporate travel departments, travel agencies, TMCs, regardless. Everybody has easy access into the Red App Centre to be able to leverage and take advantage of what our providers are developing and getting made available. We want to head to the next slide. Thanks. So just a quick background on the App Centre. We launched earlier this year, back in March, so we've been out there almost 9 months. And in that time, we've stocked ourselves in the marketplace with, now as of last week actually, it's over 80 apps are available. Over 10,000 downloads all around the world, greater than 50 countries, actually now greater than 60 countries. More than 120 developer applications. Again, that's third parties we're partnering with, agencies we're partnering with to develop applications to drive some value into the desktop, the benefit of apps in a B2B world. And then in September, we were recognized by Information Week as one of the top 20 ideas to steal. So we were very proud of that award. Moving forward to the next slide. So Red App Centre, what does it really do? What are the benefits of it? In a few key bullet points, connecting the travel buyers and developers, as we saw in that visual, which then opens up a new world of possibilities. So again, those ideas are generated from all over the world, from big and small development shops, all different kinds of content, all different kinds of capabilities that we can bring into the App Centre for our agency partners to be able to take advantage of. It increases speed to market for innovative apps, a whole new distribution channel in the B2B market for our partners. And it gives the travel buyers, the agencies, the tools that they need to stay ahead and better serve their customers. We move ahead to the next screen. So what do the Red Apps mean for you, the apps themselves? So not just the Red App Centre, but what can the apps do once you get them into your environment? Well, one of the primary things is you can begin to customize your workspace, just as you do your smartphone, with putting apps on there that you know that you need, that can help make you more productive, more effective, to get at the information that you need in your daily life, also in your professional life as well, in your workspace. Increasing that efficiency, again, quickly being able to select an application to bring in information that you need rather than having to go outside and look for it, whether on a website or a desktop application. It's all integrated into your workspace, easy access, which ultimately leads to a few things. Better serving your customers, being able to get at that information very quickly, which can bring more revenue in, which everybody's looking for these days to drive it to the bottom line, and ultimately simplifying the workflow to be able to work more quickly, more efficiently. Can move forward to the next slide. So in this screen, what we see is basically seamlessly integrating into your workflow, going into the Red App Centre, looking for the apps, and then pulling those in based upon what your needs are very quickly, very easily, to change your workflow, to start to customize it. We want to go ahead and move to the next slide. So this is a screenshot to show you the Red App Centre itself, which everybody on this call can get to. And some key things to point out here through the screen. At the top, you'll see it's a link to browse apps. Very easy to go through and see the more than 80 apps that we have available for you to browse. Easy getting started instructions. If you wonder how do I get through the App Centre, though it's very easy to use, we've got that information along with some FAQs and a how to buy or how to download apps. So all that's quickly available across the top. In the center, we have our global search bar. So if there's a type of app you're looking for, and in this case in this screenshot, somebody wanted a Twitter app because they like to follow tweets. So you can search to see what type of apps have been developed from our partners and are available in the Red App Centre. If you'll notice across the bottom third of that screenshot, we've got a few tabs there. Featured apps, so those are apps as new ones come. We want to be sure that our customers are aware of them, so we put them on a features tab. Top rated apps, which is that tab in the center. Our users have the ability when they download an app and they've used it to come back in and actually write a review and rate an app. So that helps other buyers, just like in any app store, be able to come in and see what are others saying about this app. Do I really want to try it or not? And then again, the last tab is recent apps. Now, under all those apps, our partners, our third-party developers, our agency partners have the ability to upload a video that you can access to get a feel for what does this app do, what does it look like, how does it integrate. Screenshots can be uploaded as well, so you can take a look. And I mentioned the reviews and ratings. Go to the next slide, please. So we had mentioned our development partners, and they're all over the world. You can take a quick look at that screen and see many of the countries where we have partnered with different development shops to get their solutions into the Red App Center. A lot of regional solutions can also be developed by those partners. So a very powerful network that we're building and continue to expand globally. Next slide, please. So some supported technologies, not to get too technical on the call, but in the Red App Center, a variety of apps exist there. Java technology, simple websites with HTML, some proprietary Sabre software that we have. Just you can build, you can what we call wrap an application, wrap it as the Red App based upon a variety of internet or desktop technologies, not limited. The next slide, please. So design flexibility. So as those apps are being developed and integrated into the workspace, there's a variety of ways that that can be done. So it can be as simple as a dialogue, either modal or non-modal, either interrupting the workflow or just a notification to the agent during their workflow. It can be built as what we call a view, so that during the workflow, and I'll show you some screenshots in a moment, an app can either be accessed just as on your smartphone. You could go over, click on it, and get into the app, or developers have the ability through our tools to actually code their app to launch and fire based upon the workflow itself, which again builds in some of that efficiency and the flexibility. Or as you'll see with Limos.com, they chose to take the route of running in what we call an editor or a full tab within the workspace. So a lot of design flexibility depending upon the type of app it is for how it can run within the workspace. Next slide, please. So again, around our development partners are the tools that we provide them, wizards, documentation within our SDK, our developer toolkit, integration with what's happening in the Sabre system. Data pre-population can happen with the apps, again, building in some of that efficiency for our agencies. Taking apps that exist, it doesn't necessarily have to be something new that's being built. Several have been existing applications that they can take our wizards and our documentation and SDK and actually wrap that app to become a Red App and integrate it into the workspace. Next slide, please. So there's all types of Red Apps to fit needs, as you can see there. Profile management, activity reservations, training tools, productivity tools, quality control. It's as open as we make it. So the creativity out there just brings more and more solutions into the Red App Center for our customers to leverage and take advantage of. If we want to go to the next slide. What I want to do is just show you a handful of apps. I've got 3 different types of solutions here that we'll touch on. The first one, to give you an example, is called Command Translator, and this is great for a training tool as an example. If you're looking for new agents, they might have an experience on a different system, or they might not have any experience on Sabre. So what this app does when it's launched is you'll notice at the bottom third of the screen where it says Command Translator, that is the ability to type in a command in another native language, in this example, WorldSpan, putting in an A command. You'll notice on the right the Sabre format is then shown. It categorizes as an availability search. So this starts to come in play as a training tool to help get the agent more familiar with Sabre. If we can hit next slide, please. Further upon that training is the ability within the Command Translator tool to link over to what Sabre calls Format Finder. That's a directory of information that can be used by our agents to learn more about specific entries in Sabre, in this case availability. So new agents or conversion agents can come in and research and learn more about specific commands. And then if we hit the next screen, and not only is it in the bottom when they enter that command in the field, but up in the top in the Sabre system, that command is then entered and executed with a Sabre command. So again, that efficiency of not having to know Sabre, being able to come right in the door, sit down, launch Command Translator after it's downloaded from Red App Centre, make an entry, have it executed in the Sabre system, and be able to move through your workflow, all the while being able to train and get up to speed with the Sabre system. So a whole lot of efficiency built in there, as well as training capabilities. And this is, just to point out, this is running in what we call a view. So it doesn't take up as a tab or an editor, and it's not interrupting the workflow as a dialog box. If we hit next, this is what we call Event Finder. So again, coming into activity reservations, again, running as a view. This time it's running vertically, not horizontally. Again, just going to show some of the flexibility of the design. When the Event Finder app is launched, in this case we're looking for some music. You put in your date, you put your location, then you're able to scroll through and look at events or the location of what you're looking for. We want to hit next slide. And one last one to go over. This just shows preferred hotels. So again, this starts to get into productivity tools, efficiency tools. In this case, for hotels, which we also offer for air and car, it's highlighting for the agent during their workflow what their agency preferred suppliers are. And if we hit next slide. One last one, dynamic calendar. This is an example again of another one running in a view. This can be as simple as a calendar on a desktop. Agents like access to that. They can quickly take a look at different dates, but it has also, in this case, been programmed for listening to what's happening in the Sabre system. So in this case, over on the left, if somebody has done a search for the 26th of December, that calendar opens. It highlights that date for the 26th. So if the person sitting across from them or on the phone says 26, what about on Wednesday the 27th? When I select 27 on the calendar, automatically in Sabre, it has listened to that. That logic has been built in, and that command is executed, again, driving some of that efficiency into the workflow. And the Limos.com, of course, which is our 2012 Red Appies winner, is a great example of how we have partnered with a third-party development shop to bring content into the workspace. I'm going to turn it back over to Kevin, who I know is going to introduce Doug, and let him go over Limos.com with everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Chip. Some great stuff there. We've started to get some questions come in. So just a reminder, everybody, you can submit a question that we'll throw at Chip and Doug at the end. So, like I said, there's a couple have come in already, which is great. So thank you very much to those that have. We've got another poll before we go on to the next segment of the webinar. If you would like to throw up the question there, please, Jean. This is quite funny. How many apps primarily used for business are currently on your smartphone? I particularly like the last option. I quit counting at 15. So if you'd like to cast your votes there. And just watching those come in now, I must say I'm quite surprised. I wish it was when I introduce Doug, I'll ask him to reflect on these results, I think. Okay, should we have those results up now, Jean? So fewer than 5, just short of 60%. So just over a quarter there have 5 to 10 apps. Just 8% of you have 10 to 15, and 7% of you decided to quit counting at 15. So thank you very much for voting, everybody. So yes, a Chief Product Officer at Limos.com. It's a fine chap in San Francisco, goes by the name of Doug Anderson, and he's with us now. Just before you launch into your presentation there, Doug, any reflections on the results of that poll? I must say I was expecting there to be a smaller percentage on the numbers that were saying fewer than 5. Were you expecting the same?
Well, I think the results, from my perspective, speak for themselves, which are, 40% of people have 5 or more apps for business, presumably on their phones, which are either for personal use, sort of a bring your own device environment, or even if it's company issued. And I think that's pretty amazing. considering, apps really aren't that old in the grand scale of things, especially in the travel world, which I think, has more of a reputation for being slower adopters of these technologies.
Yeah, great stuff. Okay, thank you very much for just kind of doorstepping you, as we say in the journalism world, with some quick reaction to that. So, but over to you, and talk to us about what you've been doing at limos.com.
Okay, well, thank you guys very much for having us. We're really proud to show off what we've been building, and for starters, we're big fans and big believers in the app strategy, and we think this is something that makes a ton of sense for businesses, mainly because apps are typically faster than using web pages. They're more interactive, and they really allow you to harness the native features of their host systems. So an incredibly feature-rich system like Sabre and Sabre Red Desktop, we think is a perfect match for the app marketplace that we've been building for car service. So I'd love to take you through some of our thinking and how that actually is being brought to bear on the Sabre Red system. Just for starters, most of us are familiar in the travel agent world, no matter what your role is, being able to book air, of course, being able to book hotel, and really the maturity of those product lines in the travel world. It's a highly organized supply and inventory base. It's a proven and standardized experience. Most travel agents know sort of what they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time. Most travelers know what they're going to get. On the technology side, reservations written to the P&R and all kinds of customizations around accessing client-specific content. If you compare that maybe to what's going on in the limo world, well, there's definitely a big question mark on that. Let's go to the next slide. And, the limo world really, again, talking about slow adoption, has been, really far behind, most of the core, if you will, travel products. And so we think, what we've been building as a product and now bringing it to bear through Sabre Red is really a game changer. And, number one, if you just look at the macro impact, macro factors of the limo and sedan world, highly fragmented supply base, over 8,000 individual providers in the U.S., about double that number if you look worldwide. It's a highly inefficient booking process. Typically agents are experiencing phone calls, emails, faxes, all these things living outside of their chosen travel booking system, and therefore, typically ending up outside the P&R. And then because of this fragmentation and inefficiency, there's really a lack, used to be at least, of price comparison and transparency. So because of inefficiency, you then get, really a hard product to consume that I think a lot of travel managers become skeptical of. Travel agents, aren't really interested in taking on the task, and travelers, don't get the access they want. So we think, in partnership with Sabre Red, there has to be a better way of doing things. So let me show you what we think we've done here is, really using this native app environment, allow agents to search, compare, book directly through Sabre on more than 2,000 providers that are subscribers to our system. We're worldwide, 370 major markets, 62 countries, and the efficiency that it's brought to the agents we think is unparalleled. It's less than a minute to complete a booking, and we're providing 24/7 support on top of that, and every reservation is writing right to the P&R. So if you just go on to the next slide. So obviously most of us are familiar, whether you're an agent or consumer of the system in some form, of what the agent screen is working on a day-to-day basis. So living within that environment is our app, and typically you can find that in the tools section. So if you go to the next screen, let's look at this traveler who's going from DTW to LGA, right? Well, first off, the agent's going to see a graphical and intuitive-to-use interface. Okay, no scripts to remember. This is going to behave just like an app on the web or an app on their phone, and it's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So if you look at the next slide, you can see by pressing the book button, automatically agents are able to consume the data available in the P&R to start building their limo segment. So in this case, you can see the passenger data, their form of payment based on their profile, pickup and address data, and then what flight, again, this segment is being booked for. And through the various interfaces, you can change those flights, change those segments, and really customize the segment to your needs. So after pulling the resident trip details and pressing search, well, now this is really the marketplace that we've built for car services coming to bear. What we've done is we're able to present in real time real pricing of local providers. Okay, so most agents are used to working with, maybe a handful of local providers. Sort of every company or agent has their quote-unquote local guy that they work with, or, of course, a major branded network like a Carey or a Boston Coach. But in this example, we're now bringing, literally, we think, every local provider, every worthwhile local provider in these major markets, and making them available at the fingertips of agents through the Sabre Red App system. So no more searching the yellow pages or other places, and no more having to rely on single networks with prices that are typically 30 to 40% more. So local providers to the local prices. And when they're ready to book, you select a provider based on that's appropriate, double check the information, add any special instructions, press the confirm button, and once confirm is complete, then a segment is created right in the P&R, and voila, the agent is done with their limo segment. So again, what is typically, from agencies that we've been working with, can be 10 to 15-minute processes are cut down, literally to one minute per segment, and we're really proud of that. So I think the takeaway here really is that with Sabre Red environment and the app we've built, there's now a better way to make car service reservations. It's easy, it's dependable, it's affordable, because you're now accessing local providers, and it's going to save agents time. And now, because it's so much more accessible, it's going to open up new revenue opportunities for agencies at large. So you can find us in the Sabre Red App store, and we hope you do, and we'll be waiting for your requests. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, fellas. So we've got about 20 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes or so with questions. Like I said, you can submit them. We've got half a dozen or so here that we'll try and get through, and obviously Gene and I are always got things that we'd like to ask as well. I mean, just a general one about limos, first of all, because being a European here in the UK, we always find the concept of we're getting away slightly. I'm just interested in, you're a North American company. What are you seeing in terms of worldwide kind of adoption of your service and just limos in general before we kind of dive into what you've been doing with Sabre? I'm just satisfying my curiosity a little bit, first of all, Doug.
Yeah, thanks. So number one, we found, for North American buyers traveling outside of North America, this has been, a big help. It really solves the use case of going to a foreign country, foreign city, and not really knowing, number one, they know they don't want to show up at the airport and or rely on local transportation, whether it be a cab or navigating, even London, which is highly sophisticated in the underground system, let alone less developed cities, with less sort of quality transportation. And then so that's been a big help. And then the use case of inbound travelers to North America. Again, sort of very similar scenario where a lot of travelers who, again, don't have necessarily access to, a liquid marketplace locally to find car service. We're seeing a ton of international traffic, especially on the business travel side, that are looking to use this service because, again, it puts it all at their fingertips and no guessing, and they get a qualified third party like Limos.com to help, certify and rate these companies and, bring forward the pricing.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Right,
hey,
so
Kev?
let's yes.
Kev, this is Gene. Chip, just a quick question for you. Can you explain a little bit more of the variety of apps that agents and TMCs and corporate travel clients of Sabre have to choose from, and share a little bit about, even though the time has been short since they've been available, how they've been used by your client community?
Certainly. So in the Red Apps Center today, we have over 80 apps that our agents from around the world can go in and search and browse and download. A whole variety of apps. Back to that one screen we had as an example, productivity tools like the preferred hotels that help make agents more efficient. We've got revenue generating tools. Productivity apps, some utility apps, something as simple as a to-do list actually is one of our top 5 apps, which is kind of neat. So agents typically during the workday have sticky pads or notebooks. They're constantly having to write down reminders or things to follow up on. With a simple utility app like to-do list, they're able to open that app during their workflow, write themselves a quick memo, put a due date on it, and save it, and go right back to working. So something as basic as that offers a whole lot of value into the workflow. We've got apps for finding events. So often if an agent is talking to a customer and they're going somewhere and they want to know what museums are around, or are there any concerts, or what can I do during the weekend there, those type of apps are quickly available to them. And then as an additional productivity measure to that, once they find a specific event, if their customer is interested in that, in one of our apps, in that Event Finder app, there is a link that actually says Find Hotels. And when you click that link, that starts to bring in some of the productivity and efficiency. We actually launch back in the Sabre system based on that location, hotels near that event, which then the travel counselor can go and actually shop and book.
And Chip, just a quick follow-up to that. I know that Doug demonstrated how the Limos app fits seamlessly into the blue screen environment that agents and TMCs are using to handle their clients' needs. But do you have any data or any impressions on maybe some leading-edge agents who are using tablet technology in an integrated way, not just with the app side of the equation, but how is Sabre supporting that coming need in the tablet, in the tabletization, if you will, of mobile applications?
Yep, that's a great question, and that's something that we hear often and that we've listened to, and we're actually in development right now with a tablet solution that we're looking to get into the hands of agents to test in the first half of next year. We look at ourselves as an industry leader in mobility. We've got Get There, we've got Tripcase Mobile, but we know agents are starting to become more mobile. High need for tablets. The tablet explosion is beginning to happen itself. So we want to be able to take advantage of what those device capabilities are, take a holistic approach to that, and that's exactly what we're doing right now to meet that need.
Okay, my call for questions has triggered an avalanche, unfortunately. So we're gonna go try and get through as many of these as we can. So a basic one first of all. So Lily Patitucci, I hope I've pronounced your surname right. Lily asks, she's just got a new iPad and iPhone. Can I upload Sabre Red on these devices, and are these apps free?
That ties back to what we're looking at for next year around the tablet solution and devices. So yes, we're in development now, taking a look at that, and by the first half of next year, we are looking to have agents test our solution so we can get them to the market.
Okay, Josie Lehue, possibly another surname. Apologies if I've mispronounced it. She asks, do any of the apps work with Get There?
That is in our future plans to have integration with Get There, so not currently, but that will be coming.
Okay, rough time scale next year, first half next year, second half, something like that?
I don't have an exact time frame, but it's in our strategy to take a look at that with Get There.
Okie dokie. Okay. Question for you, Doug. Rick Grissom asks, does Limos.com support corporate discounts and corporate billing?
Yes, on both.
Yes, it does, and that's quite an easy process for users and agencies and TMCs.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's just a configuration on our side, couple settings that we do, and then, once the agency is using our Red app, it's all, coming through API that we're using to surface the content. So the API makes a call to our side. As part of that API call and the setup of the Red app, we'll know which agency is looking for the content and can provide them, that agency-specific content. So whether it's pricing customization or billing customization.
Okay, and Kevin Polido here asks another Limos.com direct question. Says, does Limos.com offer carry? C-A-R-E-Y.
No, we do not specifically offer carry. What we do is we actually work with, our relationship is typically not with carry at the sort of corporate level, is we have, we've taken more of a direct approach. So we're working with a number of the affiliates that they work with. So, carry is an affiliate network. They send their work, out to local providers, and we source those same local providers at their local price, not the carry price.
Okay.
Yeah. But in some cases, we actually have the carry franchise. If, carry is a franchise network as well in some cases, and we will work with that franchise locally.
Okay, a specific question, I guess, for you, Chip. Slight criticism, or making a point here. This is Trent Hendrickson. He says, I don't find the contact seller option particularly user-friendly. When are you going to allow immediate download and purchase of the apps? They also ask, a trial period before purchase would be important as well.
Yep, great question and great timing. Actually, our next release, which will be coming out to kick off the year, will implement the free download process. So we know that's been one of the larger things we've needed to address. We kind of took a phased approach based upon some initial talks with our agency partners about how the Red App Center in a B2B environment should work. We listened, we understand the need for our agencies to be able to go in, search for and find an app, select it, and then get it into Sabre Red Workspace. So it's coming soon. Great question. Thanks, Trent.
Okay, you've got a great opportunity there, Chip, to talk about what's coming down the pipe, which is great. So, first of two questions from Surajit Bachi, who asks, does an app written for the Red Workspace automatically become smartphone enabled, or would we need to code a little bit more?
We will update our SDK to support that in the future. That is part of our strategy.
Right, okay, I'm going to ask you the dreaded timeline question again. These are all things in the future, I mean, next year once again, given that we're just 20 days away from Christmas.
Yeah, well, true, 2013 will be here before we know it.
Indeed,
yeah,
okay.
I don't have an exact time frame to quote or to answer that question, other than we are looking for that easy transition to be able to move it over once we have solutions in place for tablets and phones to be able to take advantage of that. So we're just now in the early stages, so we will definitely get there. We're looking into it.
Okay, William Wallen asks, are Sabre's apps costs similar to the Apple App Store, and are there free updates?
Great question. So just like in an app store, there's free apps and there's paid-for apps. So just like that new download process that we have for free apps, we'll have a similar type of concept. So a wide range of apps we have out there, many of which are free if you go out and search the App Store. For the paid apps, the prices, it depends. It depends on what the capabilities are. It depends on the developer themselves and how they price it. So when we partner in the App Store with a developer, the pricing is determined by the developer for their application.
Okay. I don't think we've ever had so many questions come in at one time.
They're great questions.
Yeah, they are. There's some really good ones here. So Thomas Lynch asks, how do you overcome the challenges of businesses limiting the apps that can be downloaded to work smartphone devices?
So that's a great question. So right now, as I mentioned, we're in the early stages, and the integration is in with the Sabre Red Workspace. Smartphones will come in the future. We'll be looking into that. Right now, for the Workspace, when you come in Red App Center from our conversations and our research with agencies and the owners and the buyers, within those. As it stands now, anybody can come in and search and shop in the App Store. When it comes time to actually purchase and get that app downloaded into Sabre Red Workspace, there's certain individuals identified within each agency that have those rights, if you will. And so right now it's managed through that rather than everybody within the agency being able to come in and there not be that control at the manager owner level of what's going on to the desktop.
Okay. Rick Grissom asks again, from the time a request to purchase an app is made, it takes 2 to 3 weeks before it's active on the agent desktop. It's over 9 different steps. Why is this so long and, he argues, so complicated?
Yep, great question. And again, where we've listened, we're looking to address those as quickly as possible. Part of that long duration to get an app has been the actual process to get it into Sabre Red Workspace. As mentioned, that download process, which is coming in January, will take care of that. Once took several days for those free apps, will now be very fast, nearly immediate, till it's sitting in Sabre Red Workspace. Once within Sabre Red Workspace, the agency has the ability on their end to quickly distribute and download that app to their users through the Sabre Red Workspace Agency Admin tool.
Okay. Paul Cardwell asks, what is the potential for apps that enable the planning and later booking of a multi-day itinerary?
So right now I'm thinking if we have a multi-destination, are we talking multi-destination or did you say multi-day?
Multi-day, sorry.
So right now we don't have an app that will allow the booking. You can definitely shop. We've got one as an example called Quick Trip Quote, which is air, car, and hotel, going out and finding for a destination pair what the lowest option is for each of those and returning those results. It does have that listening capability for what has been entered in the app, and then over in the Sabre system we'll execute that and show you the results. So we do have that app that is available now that you could download for free and go and try. So that can be a round trip, a one-way again. You could have just air, you could have air, car, and hotel. We'll go out and search that and bring the results back for you, and then you can go and book it.
Okay, so a very practical question here. Virginia Barthel asks, do all the apps have tutorials to walk the agent through how it works? Very practical question.
Yes, as I mentioned, the apps, developers have the ability to upload pictures, to upload videos. You could upload a tutorial. Many of the apps are very easy to use. Support is in place for all the apps, either by Sabre or by the developer themselves through a support desk, so that those capabilities to understand apps are there.
Okay, it's more of a general question now to both of you. So Michael Jacques says, with the proliferation of apps and Focusrite predictions of 50% of bookings to come via smartphones by 2015, so for the panel, either of you, what is the role and future of the traditional travel management company as a result of all of this? Let's go on to a little bit more philosophical question for a second.
Gotcha. This is Chip. I think it just shows the pace of technology, which I spoke about, and things are changing so fast. Just like in that evolution slide I had at the very beginning, agents are going to become more and more mobile. So that same agent may not be sitting at a desktop to do what they have to do. They're going to have a smartphone or a tablet and need to be on the go and wherever they are. So I think that's probably more the dynamic, the nature of the travel counselor and how they're going to be doing work and where they're going to be doing it.
And Doug, do you have a point of view on that one? It's be good to hear from you again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the role of the travel management company is definitely going to be shifting, and I think in the past it's been, sort of a balance between, being an implementer, if you will, of travel policy within a company, and then maybe a consultant. And I think the consultant role is going to really grow. because the decentralization, or sort of, what's been coined as the consumerization of the enterprise, I think is actually, it's going to be great and really liberating for a lot of the travelers, but I think it's going to create a lot of complexity for travel managers and CFOs, and the TMC's role in, I think, helping implement and manage a decentralized or consumerized enterprise travel system. They're going to really need the TMCs to help them with that.
Okay. Piper Fenton, great name, asks, is there any proprietary information that only a manager should have, or can a regular agent get hold of one of these types of apps? Is this something that the agency must purchase for the entire agency, or is it just for the individual user?
So great question. So in the Red App Center, anybody is allowed to come in and shop and browse and look at apps, but to actually download it goes back to those discussions that we've had with agency owners that they're not quite ready yet to open up the workspace to everybody downloading apps and putting whatever they want onto their workspace. So there are certain individuals that we recognize certain rights that they have in their profile that they are able to come in and actually select and download those apps. Now, of course, anybody can shop them and then have that conversation within their agency of, we would like this app and this reason why. And so if somebody just wants to, quote, test an app, see how it is, back through the power of Sabre Red Workspace and that agency admin tool, you're able to create groups, and that group can be as small as one person. So once that app is purchased, selected in the Sabre Red App Center, and it's available in Sabre Red Workspace, that agency admin in that location can then download it to one or many users to try out, get a feel for it, see how it's integrating into their environment. So that control is there.
Okay. I suspect this is certainly a highly technical question for me. So Chris Harnetti asks, is there a plan to add the ability to cater for Microsoft.NET technology-based apps and programming languages in the Sabre Red App Centre in the future?
Yes, we are taking a look at that next year at the .NET platform.
Okay. We're just coming up to time here. So just one or two more. I mean, I did have one specific kind of question from me. I mean, obviously, it's what kind of demand or requests are you getting from your agency customers? Obviously, it's very much kind of a push scenario in the sense that you have developers that are creating these apps, and it's very much down to the agency to pick and choose which one they would like. I mean, what kind of It's not feedback. I mean, do you get agencies saying to you, we would really like if someone could do this? And then indeed it gets to the point of, are you asking developers to develop on demand almost?
A lot of the feedback we're hearing is they would like more apps for revenue or automation apps. What we're hoping to start next year on Red App Center is opening up a social community there where that dialogue can happen, where developers can say, here's what we're thinking, hey, what do you think of this? And vice versa, for agencies to be able to come in and shop, and if they're not seeing exactly what they look for, be able to put it out there for our partner network to come in and take a look at and hopefully build solutions that meet those needs.
Yeah, and just on that one, I mean, question for you then, Doug. I mean, how long was the process of you getting involved in all this from, say, start to finish? Because obviously Limos.com was its own business in its own right, but your involvement with the Red App Centre, to when you started to when it was in the marketplace for people to play with is probably the wrong word, but to actually use within their businesses. How long did that actually take?
So I'm trying to think through the actual timeline. I think from a development perspective, I think a key caveat or context to this is that we were definitely an early adopter, super early adopter of this. So I think all in it was probably about 6 months. My expectation now would be that you could bring an app to market in probably 3 to 4 months. Just because literally we were working with a lot of the Sabre team to figure out, okay, great, you have this new app. Now what are the processes going to be to bring it to market? Which were, definitely fun and entertaining at some junctures. Otherwise, like I said, I think from what I've seen, the process is smoothed out. We're probably going to be bringing a couple new apps to market next year, focused on more like the leisure side and some more sort of transport, other segment specific. So, at this point, I'd expect it to be closer to, call it 3 to 4 months.
Sure. Encouraging to hear that it was also fun and entertaining as well as there being a business process behind it as well.
Yeah.
So a final one to you then really, Chip. I mean, if we were to be having this webinar again in 2 years, if you can put, look into your crystal ball for a second, what kind of conversations do you think that Sabre would be having with its customers, and the types of questions and issues that maybe some of the TMCs that maybe have been using the Red App Store for a couple of years at that point will have been having? I mean, what kind of things are they going to be looking for? So just kind of gaze into the future for a second to kind of wrap things up for us today.
Sure. Again, I think based upon your question out there about the changing role of the travel counselor in the future, them being more mobile, it's going to be around meeting those needs and how their role is evolving and things that they need in terms of more seamless integration, globalization of apps, apps being able to scale to meet their needs, being on different devices, probably apps we haven't even thought of yet. But again, through that partner network we have, through the ideas that they have, by conversations with them, which is exactly what we want to have, is the innovation will come out and get into our marketplace, and we're just going to keep growing and growing. I believe we'll truly have seen an explosion in B2B apps a few years out from here, and so it's very exciting. They've got some very unique business needs that are out there. Our business environment is constantly changing, and I think having the Red App Centre marketplace poises us nicely to be able to meet those ever-changing business needs, quickly partnering to get apps out there and on those devices and on their desktop to help them meet their needs.
One fears whether we will have as many B2B apps as we have B2C travel apps in 2 years.
I hope we do.
Great stuff. So thank you very much, fellas, for your wise words and for taking so many questions. I've got another 4 or 5 here that we didn't get a chance to get to. Apologies for those that did ask a question. So brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Chip Gordon from Sabre Travel Network and Doug Anderson from Limos.com. A great hour. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Obviously, big thanks to Sabre Travel Network for coming in and producing this in conjunction again with tnooz. Just a quick reminder, as I said earlier, we have recorded the entire thing, so we'll hope to have that up on tnooz.com in the next 6 to 7 hours or so. All the slides will be there as well, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks again to the panel and Sabre, and thank you most of all to those listening in. We hope you have an enjoyable remainder of your day. Thanks ever so much again, and goodbye.